Come on. Turning point for Real Madrid. Okay, was it pretty? No, it wasn't. It really wasn't. But we got the job done, okay? And this is what I want to talk about today. And yes, it is a turning point, and I'm going to try to explain why. So, first of all, if you didn't watch the game, we ended up running out 2-0 winners. And it was a tricky game for a couple of different reasons. Number one, we were missing a lot of players from the first 11. Jude Bellingham still wasn't back. Chouameni wasn't back. Who else were we missing? Well, we started to rotate a couple of different players into positions. And just to give you an idea, we did line up with Luka Modric and Valverde as a sort of a double pivot. And then we had Arda Güler, Brahim Diaz, Vinicius, and Mbappe up top. And I liked it. Carlo's clearly trying different strategies. And the thing is that he's trying them, even though the game is very, very difficult. It's very, very challenging. We were away at Real Sociedad in Anoeta, and it was very, very difficult. So there was a big chance for things to go wrong. But unlike the earlier games in the season where we couldn't get those winning goals to take us past opponents, and the reason why we are behind Barcelona at the minute, this time around we got it right. We got the goals. Okay? It's easy to look at the facts of the game if you haven't watched it and say, okay, fine, 2 penalties. This is a problem, team can't score goals. But the truth of it is that we were creating opportunities. And the thing is that Mbappe is looking sharper and sharper with each passing game. And you've still got to put away the penalties at the end of the day. Now, negative points to come out of the game, the injury to Brahim Diaz. It was initially feared that he was only going to be out for a month, which is bad enough, but now it turns out that it's more likely to be 3. So there are a lot of games that he's going to miss. I think it's around 18 fixtures, all in all, which is horrific because he's almost Mr. Dependable. When I was looking at them play last season, my first thought was, if we are struggling in a game and we need to hit the panic button, there were 2 names that Carlo used to call on. It was Brahim Diaz and Joselu. And both of them worked really well in combination with each other. And we do lose a massive utility player. What it does mean, though, is that it gives more opportunities to the likes of Arda Güler, who is fast becoming one of my favourite players in the side. I just don't think he gives the ball away. He creates danger. He looks very, very natural chopping in with that left foot. And again, that's really rare. Think about it in world football right now. We've had this discussion before. If you take away the likes of Mohamed Salah and Bukayo Saka, who are you really left with in terms of a player who is comfortable operating that right wing berth, chopping inside, having the shot on the left foot? He's a very, very capable player and he rarely gives the ball away. And I personally would like to see Carlo experiment a little bit more with him in the starting 11. Now, he ends up playing the shot which hits the hand of one of the Sociedad players, and that results in the first penalty. And obviously the lads stick the penalties away. Happy days, good job. What else can we take away from this game, aside from the fact that we got it done? Okay, there were opportunities that were being created. Okay, so our players responsible for doing that, the likes of Arda, the likes of Brahim whilst he was on, which wasn't for very long, unfortunately, Rodrigo, Vinicius, they all look sharp. They did look really sharp. And that double pivot is interesting. I still don't think that it's the right call, but it feels like more of a, I haven't got anything else left, because even Ceballos wasn't around for a little bit of just an extra man, a utility man that could come in midfield. And I do think that it is a lot to ask Luka Modric to do that job, but you know that he's willing to do it. I do think, though, that this is fast becoming the let's let Valverde run around like a headless chicken and hope that he mops up, because clearly he's not in his position. I know that he started his career at Real Madrid there, but he has evolved. He's much more than that now, and he wants to get forward. He wants to contribute. He was a little bit shackled. Defensively, I thought we were okay. Real Sociedad had a lot of chances, so we are still giving up a lot to them, and that is a bit of a concern, but it is still early days. And like I say, we didn't have that true defensive shield in front of us. For the next game, I think it's Stuttgart in the Champions League, I think tomorrow night, we will have Chouameni back as the defensive mid, hopefully, and maybe even Bellingham. Might see him back in the lineup. And it will be interesting to see them get a run of games. One thing that I am interested to see is Camavinga. Now, Camavinga's obviously had that shocking injury, and it's really unfortunate because with Toni Kroos leaving, especially, you're looking for someone to step up into that position, and it could well have been him. I'm not saying that he's got the passing skill set of a Toni Kroos, but what he has got is the ability to break lines. So he carries the ball like Valverde, but he's also comfortable playing the passes, and that's really important when you're trying to release the likes of Mbappe and Vinicius. Now, as I'm reacting to the weekend, I might as well react to some of the transfer stories that we've been linked with. Won't take very long, and no doubt you've got your own thoughts about these matters. But one of them, Christian Romero from Tottenham Hotspur, the defender, apparently linked with him for a January move. Again, it screams to me of lazy journalism. I don't think he's done enough to deserve a move to Real Madrid. That's not being arrogant. It's just you're looking at a player who is very hot-headed, picks up a lot of yellow cards quite pointlessly. Yes, he is a good defender, but he's also got this side to him. And if we've learned anything from the Vinicius temptation to end up in the referee's handbook, then are they really going to invest in a player who has the same propensity to do that on a football pitch? Probably not. Aside from that, he played at the weekend against Arsenal, got absolutely dominated. So yeah, I'm not sure that he is the right call. You all know my favourite. I would go for Saliba. I would put the money in for him. Again, another good performance from him. Another one that we've been linked with, Mike Maignan. Now, this one comes out a little bit of left field because to talk about this, we have to talk about Lunin's renewal. So he's renewed his contract, which is really, really good and actually quite unforeseen because over the summer, he made a lot of comments that sort of indicated that he wanted out of Real Madrid. In the end, he's ended up staying, he's ended up penning the renewal. Now, why is this? It's possible that Lunin leaves next summer. It really is. If he's not getting the minutes, if Courtois is in that starting 11 every week, he might ask for that transfer. The difference being that if he is under contract, we'll get a transfer fee. He's not leaving for nothing, essentially. So I think that it's more of a business deal in that sense. But this is probably why we are still being linked with other goalkeepers. Now, the likes of Maignan, yes, he's a good goalkeeper, plays for Milan, has been quite solid for them over the years, has got an error or two in his game as well. But when you're looking for that second choice goalkeeper, it's a really, really small pot of players that are available because you're asking someone to sit on the bench for 90% of the games during a season and they have to be happy with that. And most people have got a bit more ambition than that and they don't want to satisfy that role. Obviously, last year you had Kepa, and by all accounts, Kepa was brilliant around the dressing room, always helping the others, including the goalkeepers. Even when he lost his spot to Lunin, you could see him when we had that penalty shootout against City, giving him instructions, trying to help him through it. And the attitude of him and his girlfriend, his partner, was absolutely exemplary. They were just very, very pro Real Madrid, always supportive of the team, and that's what you need around the dressing room. So with this one, whilst it is a possibility, everything has to do with what happens with Lunin in the future. He might well back himself. He might well believe or have seen enough to say to himself, do you know what? I've seen a couple of errors in Courtois' game. I think I can take this spot off him and I can start for Real Madrid in the future. If that's him, then fair enough, like fair play to him. If not, at the very least, it's a good business deal from Real Madrid's perspective. So those were the two that I took out the weekend. Obviously, you've got the reports surrounding Alphonso Davies. I do believe he'll arrive in the summer. I don't think there's any need to keep writing stories about this because he's out of contract. It doesn't seem like he's going to sign a renewal. Does he upgrade us? Yes, he does. He's a fantastic player. So hopefully that one gets done. And if we do get any more information, I will, of course, analyse that. But the idea of having him on one side, potentially Trent on the other, is just a different team. It's a completely different animal and it completely unlocks those forwards that are shackled. Anyway, if you did enjoy this video, please consider subscribing to the channel. Take care.